Welcome to Classic Car Cave. So I'm going to do a video on this track mini, or this hill climb mini that we built. What I wanted to show you first is just to show how much dust we get in here in a year. And this was covered as well, so I'll just give that side a bit of a clean off and you can just see how manky that is. Look at the dust on that. This is just from cutting. So I've just done one side and you can see how much that orange pops against that dusty side. You can see there. So I'm going to give it a little clean off. I'll give the little electric mini mocha clean off. And I'll take you over this. I'll lift the bonnet off and give you all the details on it. Hopefully it's something you'll be interested in. There is quite a few videos on this. If you go to a video called Pannonia Ring, Mini versus Porsche, or Porsche versus Mini, you will see us driving this car at Pannonia, and there's a brand new Porsche 911 whatever, and on the corners we can keep up with it easily. And that was when this car wasn't set up the way it is now. It was only on probably 3/4 throttle. Now it's full throttle. I'll go over some of the features that I built into the car. Now, bearing in mind, for people who want to write things in or make some comments, positive comments or helps or tips, great. But yeah, the thing with this is I'd never built a track car before. I've done a bit of stock car racing, but not built it to this kind of level. Now this car predominantly will be doing hill climb, because I'm at that age now where I don't want to be racing as such, even though we are in a race on the 30th of September at the Red Bull Ring. We're in Group 3, if you want to look. It's called Ventilspiel, and we're there with the partner I have in this. So I have a partner called Joseph in this car who doesn't get involved with it mechanically. He just pays half and I pay half, and we do the work on it. And then the only person that gets charged for labour is obviously Amir's time, but my time is free to it. So to give you a couple of things, how we've done certain things, I have picked a lot off the YouTube, and I've picked some ideas and some brains, and we've come up with some things that somebody else's ideas and some are ours, mine or whoever's. So obviously, as I said, it's a carbon fibre front. You'll see, notice obviously there's no headlights in it. There's just these grills. Now what we've done there is we used PVC tubing from something like a air duct in, and we've put tubes, very lightweight, kind of, what could you say, like silver paper almost it is, but they've got a spring coil in them going all the way up the wing. It goes through a corner, a 90-degree that I built into the car, and it goes down the back of the dashboard and straight into that carburetor, into that 45 DCI Weber. So it's not exactly ram air, because I don't know what speed you need to be going to get ram air, but what it does do is it keeps all the dirt from the track out of there, and it's cooler air going into it, which is really what you need for a bigger bang for your buck. And obviously you can see the tube in that side, and you might just better see it this side as well, and it goes in and it ducts straight into that Weber there at the back. So obviously so we've got a very lightweight alternator, race alternator, oil cooler, oil catchment, fuel regulator pump here. Obviously it's got the aluminium radiator. What you will notice here, different from a normal Mini, is this YouTube system here. YouTube, that's a good one. Yeah, so this YouTube here, and what this is what they call dry decking. Because what normally happens with these A-series engines, the way they're done is 1, 2, 3 get, obviously the more water flow at the front than you do at the back, and this one can tend to be a bit static because it has to go through the head and back round. And because water, is like anything, it's a barrier to a certain extent. It doesn't flow the water or the coolant as quickly around these two as it does in the front two. So this system makes it flush all the way through. So it has to go up, back through the block, and has to go through the head. There's no other way. So it means it flushes everything and keeps it cooler. And it's called the dry deck system. So this engine was built by, as you can see on the front, JPE. That's Paul Jeffries. So this is Jeffries Performance Engines, and I'm sure I'll let Paul know that I'm putting this video up, and he can put the specs up of the cam. It was a billeted crank. We spent around about, I would think, I can't remember, something like between 8 and 10 or 11,000, I think, on the engine, but it was specialist built. It's a mini Metro engine, MG Metro engine, initially, and we didn't have any of it. We didn't have a gearbox, we had nothing. He built it from scratch, and you might be able to see on the clutch there, it's actually still, it's got the lightning holes and for ventilation as well, to get some heat out of that clutch. A couple of the other things you might notice, there's holes in these top bolts here. This is, we have a big long hex bar that goes in there, and we can lift the front suspension up and down without taking any weight off the wheels. It just lifts the high-lows up and down to wherever we want it to corner weight. We have that same system on the back, and the only thing we've done differently to this, I nicked this from the Miglias and Mini 7s or whatever. So you can see the hole that goes in there, and it can be quite difficult to get the hex key in. Let me just bring this down, sorry about bad camera work. You can see they are both there. And what we did is we put a tube on this where this rear valance is, and put the tube directly in line. You can't see it, unfortunately, but it's directly in line with the hole, so when you put it in, it goes in pretty much straight away. If you didn't have that tube, that guide tube, you had to fiddle with it a little bit. Okay, on the back, this is not genuine. This is just some Monza cap, but there's nothing in there. The actual race tank is here, as you can see. There's the cover for it, there's the pump, and you can see the aluminium tank in there. As I said, this is fiberglass. It's not, but it's very, very light. Okay, what else can I show you? Now inside the car. Ah, yes, sorry. On the outside of the car. Let me shut that door properly. There we go, typical Mini. You might see this piece here, which is unusual. Normally this sill comes down here, and you put the jack up underneath it. This is a tube that goes right the way across the car, in exactly the same place as the original was in the Minis, but I can put a special bar in there and it lifts the whole car up. I'm trying to think what else we did. We did, yes, while I'm outside. Now I might not be able to see this, but you can see there's a anti-roll bar. Now this is not the road one, this is a race. I believe this bar is 5/8, this anti-roll bar, rear roll bar, and makes a massive difference to the car, because you can actually what's the right word, drift it into corners. So that's all been put on. Okay, where are we going now? Okay, so inside, yeah, go back to inside. So the dash looks fairly amateurish, because it is, because I built it myself, this dashboard. You can see all the gauges and things on it there. So we're just fitting this in. This is not in yet, but it's basically just a shift light, or make shift light, so that we see when we're at maximum on the gears, and then we can change up the gears. So you can see the batteries there in the back, fire extinguisher. It's got a on-off emergency switch, which is down there, as you can see, and this is a brand new Sparco and harness. It's an 8-point harness from Sparco, and this is the racing seat that's in it. That might seem a bit over large, which I might cut down just a little bit, but it's a good way to rest your foot and not rest it on the clutch. Though with a car like this, you've got to, the power band is at 3,200 up to, I believe, 7, I think it is. Paul probably correct me. So you really need to keep the revs right up. You might also notice there's a different type of pedal box in there, and that's adjustable. Also, it's got a link in it. We made it, the system I made in here is that pedal box can move backwards and forwards. So if the driver's taller or shorter, you can move those pedals up and down around about, I think something like, I don't know, 10 inches, 8 inches possibly, maybe less. Here you can see there's a bias valve for the brakes, for the front and rear brakes, so you can adjust that on the go. You might also notice that gear selector looks very similar to a normal Mini. In fact, it is from a Mini, but that would normally be underneath that central box under there. And what we did is put a link into it, because now it's a quick shift. If I can show you, I don't know if I can, this is a quick shift box, but you can see, look, there's from first to second is nothing, third, fourth, it's a quick shift, and it has a lifter on it here for reverse. So yeah, as you can see, the camera gear goes in the back, full roll cage all the way around, and yeah, and it does go extremely well. The acceleration is phenomenal, and it is a pocket rocket. And as you can see, I've got a few stickers from a few people, and this is Joseph, who's from Austria, who's my half share owner in it, myself, and obviously Amir is our master magician, master mechanic. Yeah, the usual stuff, roller rockers, you can probably just see them, I don't know if you can, roller rockers. Now it sounds like a bag of bolts when it starts up, but once it's above 2,500 RPM, it starts to come on. What we do with this is we run it on normal plugs, we go to the track, we warm it up, and then we put racing plugs in it, because it's an absolute bastard to start on the racing plugs, because they need to be, it's for a very high temperature. So as I say, we run them on the basics, and I have 3 sets of plugs with it. I'll show you the box we've got there. So we run it on the normal, get it up to temperature, then take them out, put the racing, high temperature racing plugs in, and it just goes even quicker. So that's it. The car was a wreck, basically. Again, if you want to go back, you can have a look at where we built it, where we painted it, all the stuff we did to it. Yeah, it was a thing I had in my head to do at one point, and Joseph, this friend that's got half share in it, he was thinking about buying a dedicated race car, single-seater racing car, and we talked about it, and I said, well, come in with me and we'll share it. You know, I have the trailer, I have the vehicle to tow it and all the rest of it, and it made sense. And he's mainly in Dubai, so he's only coming for, you know, the odd race or the odd when we start hill climbing. But I need to get in the club very soon, because I'm 68 now. I certainly don't want to be wait until I'm in my 70s before I've had quite a few hill climbs. So there we are. I'll show you. Oh, and this is the box we take with us when we're going. Got all the spare parts in it, all the bits and pieces, oils, whatever we need. We also have a tyre rack, which I custom built. So we have a tyre rack for another set of wets, another set of dries, and even this electric mini moke can fit on the rack. So we could take this to the track, and if the toilets or the coffee shop, a little electric scooter would be easier, but it's a bit of fun. It's a mini moke, as in, but I built this myself from steel. It was in a wooden Land Rover body, which I built from Toylander. If you go to Toylander, you can see it. And somebody said, oh, a mini moke would be good in it. Sparked off this idea, and I thought, well, I'll give it a try and see if I can make one look like a mini moke. And yeah, this is what I did. So, but we'll be taking this to Red Bull Ring with us, because there's always lots of miniature cars there. So yeah, that'll be on the 30th of September this year. I think we've got pre-race meeting on the Friday night, and then Saturday we have a practice session and then 3 runs. And the way we'll work it is whoever's got the best run out of the 2 of us, if we're in a position to get anything for our class, because this is this one thing I forgot to mention. This engine is a 1310cc. Now, obviously you could go to 1380, or you could put a Hayabusa in it or whatever, but I wanted to keep it a standard A series. I want people to say, wow, is that really an A? Obviously straight cut gearbox in it, but this engine on a rolling road at the wheels is producing, let me just get this right now. As I say, Paul can put the figures up as well, but it's 113 brake horsepower at the wheels. Okay, so if you take the gearbox out of that, which is obviously going to slow things down, it should be, it's probably around 120 odd horse, this thing. It's got to be, if it's 113 at the wheels. Now, that can be dialed in and out by a guy on a rolling road. There's plenty of people, you know, let's face it, it's bragging rights in a pub. Oh, my car's got X amount of horsepower. Well, I mean, it doesn't mean shit. If you can't use that horsepower, or it's not at the wheels, what difference does it make? But when we put this on a rolling road, it was 113. I told the guy it would never be on the road. It is for racing, so I think it's genuine. And what it also has, which is unbelievable, is 112.06 foot-pounds of torque. So it's almost 1 for 1. Now, in a vehicle that weighs 650 kilos, that's pretty good. So, on that note, I'll leave you with it. I just wanted to give you an update on this one, and hope you enjoyed it. So, as usual, stay safe, keep the faith, enjoy your hobby. Catch you in the next one.